So here we are. I'm in the United Kingdom. And as you can see, my good friend Leonard is, well, he's not in the United Kingdom. Leonard, where are you?
Hello, Blair. Thank you very much for having me once again. I'm on board MSC Grandiosa. The ship is sailing today between Malta. We left Malta yesterday and we'll be in Barcelona tomorrow morning. And you cannot see behind me because of the light, but we are just passing the coast of Sicily. And I was lucky enough to get some internet signal so we can talk.
Now, you think that you have the cruise bug. You haven't, because Leonard must take the biscuit for the cruise bug, because I think it's right to say that you were on MSC Virtuoso for three of the inaugural short cruises. And then,
Or,
of course,
oh, yes, yes, free of the maiden voyage plus
yeah,
another week. Correct.
yeah. And in fact, we were on the same 1 week cruise together. But no sooner had you got home and done the washing than you were packing again. So
Uh, you'll be surprised to tell you that. So we disembarked together in Southampton on a Saturday, and actually Wednesday I had the idea of going back on a cruise ship, on an MSC cruise ship. I didn't have time to wash everything. I took some of the clothes with me because on board, if you buy the laundry package, actually they are doing better than I can do it at home. So I took the advantage.
well, let's talk about what you had to go through, because I mean, obviously, gradually, very slowly, things are beginning to open up, and we're all hoping that certainly in the UK, that July the 19th may see an even bigger breakthrough. What did you have to go through? I mean, I know that you've got Romanian citizenship, so no doubt you've got your EU passport, and you've got your UK passport because you're a UK British citizen.
Yeah.
Which passport did you use?
Uh, First of all, this cruise, it's a first time from couple points of view. MSC Grandiosa was the first ship to be accepted in a Spanish port after 18 months. Therefore, we could embark the ship in Barcelona. The second first time is that after a lot of months of restriction, finally Italy and MSC Grandiosa, it's Italian if you're on territory, Italy accepted to don't wear a mask in open spaces on the street. So therefore now when you are on board, it's not like what we experience on Virtuosa around UK when you have to wear a mask all the time, even when you are on the sun deck. Now you can stay without a mask if you are in open space. And on top of that, that opened the doors if you want for pool parties, and was something different than what we had together on board of Virtuosa. Talking about how difficult it was to go to Barcelona, wasn't very difficult because I used my Romanian passport. MSC as a company accept on board their ships if you have a Schengen passport plus three other countries, Croatia, Bulgaria, and Romania. So therefore, I could board, I flew from Heathrow to Barcelona. Wasn't very complicated because, as you know, Spain trying to attract the British market, relax the acceptance regulation rules for the Brits. So you need just to go online before you fly. It's a form, an iForm 1001 time easier to fill in, more user friendly if you want than the one used by the UK government. And when you arrive, you just need to scan the barcode, the QR code on that form. It was very, very easy. On top of that, if you have a proof of a double vaccination, makes it more easier. So we didn't have any problem. I think the problem starts now because tomorrow we'll disembark in Barcelona. Saturday we'll disembark in Barcelona, and the UK form is very complicated. I still didn't decide if I will come back home with my Romanian or with the British passport. That's the problem. To
Well,
come here was very easy.
look on the bright side, Leonard. I mean, you could book another cruise, couldn't you?
And stay on board. Now I have to go back. I think after 19 plus another 7 days, 26 days of cruising, I think that's enough, at least for a month.
Yeah. Now, obviously, that when we were on Virtuosa together, the testing process was amazing. I mean, we both had our double, vaccinations.
Mhm.
But of course, we were tested before we got on the ship, and we were tested on the ship. Now, Little Bird told me that you were even tested today.
Yes, the process is the same. I think when MSC created what they call a cruise bubble, they apply this type of bubble on all their ships. So when we arrive in Barcelona before the embarkation, you know how smooth and how nice the embarkation is when you are in your club. The butler was waiting for us. We did a swab test, lateral flow test, very, very fast, and we were allowed when the results came. We're allowed to go on board. Now they did a test in the middle of the cruise. So after 4 days was the second one. And because we disembark tomorrow and Spain request PCR test or a lateral flow test, proof that you are negative when you leave the ship. Therefore, we did the test today. But it's very, very all organized. It's took me actually 5 minutes. 10 minutes just to go down to the sports complex, have the test. And by the time when I arrive in the lounge to talk with you, already the negative test was confirmed. So it's very, very easy.
So, would you say that actually, in many ways, you're a lot safer on the ship than actually you are on land?
We discussed that when we met for the first time on the Virtuosa a couple of weeks ago, and we both agree that when you are home, not everybody is observing all the rules, social distancing, wearing the mask, washing hands, and so on. Those that are on board, doesn't matter if it's on board of Virtuosa or on board of Grandiosa, you were waiting for this holiday. We're waiting for this experience for such a long time. So all this restriction will not look weird, and you respect them. For example, I saw people dancing in a club nighttime, respecting the social distancing, and everybody wearing a mask. It's a sign of respect, a sign of responsibility, and exactly what you said. I feel 1,000 times safer on board than at home in Fallswitch.
So, anybody listening to us who's maybe thinking of maybe booking a med cruise, whether it be on MSC or one of the other lines,
Yeah.
I mean, would you enthusiastically encourage them to do so?
Yes. What I will say is that when you are talking about Mediterranean cruise, keep in mind two very important aspects. One, it's summer, it's holiday, it's full of children, so you need to be prepared, especially when you have cruise line family orientated like Carnival, Disney, MSC, where they have a lot of options for kids to enjoy their time on board. So there are a lot of children at the moment on board, which can be quite noisy sometimes. And the other thing is the temperature. It's very, very, very hot. I wanted to talk with you from the sun deck, but it's impossible to stay outside. I think they are like 35 degrees, and I think the worst ports on this cruise, they were Naples and Palermo, where not only that was very hot, was very humid. Actually, Port Vesuvius, the volcano, was half covered in clouds. Was so hot and so misty and muggy, and you get wet in 2 seconds. So for a Mediterranean cruise, I will choose maybe April, May, and September, because the weather is still gorgeous. You still can enjoy the sun, the excursion. Yesterday I was in Malta, in La Valletta, and I took one of the open bus tour around the island, and it was hot, but at least it was breezy. But when we stopped on the traffic light or was a traffic jam, whew, was a little bit challenging.
And were you free to do the tours? Or I mean, are the passengers now able to get off the ship and do their own thing, whether they do a set tour or plan their own itinerary? That's possible now, is it?
For the moment, and that's not only with MSC, if you read the websites of all the cruise lines operating in the next couple of weeks, the only way to leave the ship is to book an excursion, because they try to expand that safety bubble outside the ship. It's very easy, and most of the cruise line, and I saw that Royal is doing the same, and CL will start doing the same, offer you a package with 3 or 4 excursions, cheaper than if you'll book them individually on board. But in the moment when you join the excursion, you are not allowed to leave the group. So you cannot break away from your guide and your group and wander around the city, because didn't happen this cruise, but happens last summer when a family decided to do some shopping. The guide was her responsibility, informed the ship, and because they broke the rules of the safety bubble, they were asked to disembark the ship the next day. So it's very serious. It's a safety and a health risk. So, but I didn't feel restricted. I was a tour with a lovely guide, absolutely fantastic views. I saw some places on the island that I never saw. So you have to book an excursion if you leave the ship. I don't know how long this rule will stay in place. Maybe in the moment when everybody start to get a little bit more comfortable with the number of vaccinated people, the local rules and so on, maybe something will change. But I will tell you a secret. Yesterday, I've been to Malta many times, and I didn't want to do an excursion, but the cigarettes in the duty free are very cheap, and the only way to buy cigarettes was to book an excursion. And if I add the price of the excursion to the price of cigarettes, was still cheaper than back home in UK. So
Just what's your advice in terms of the type of package, the type of insurance that you should put in place?
uh, uh, I know that when you are in holiday, you think that nothing bad can happen, but unfortunately, reality is a little bit different, and there are a lot of things that can happen because of you, because of your travel agent, because of your carrier, and so on. And I always consider an insurance as part of my holiday packages, and I include that in the budget. What I normally do, I try to book an insurance for a year to cover all my travels during 12 months. And on top of that, when I look at the package, I always go for the top price. I know that sometimes you have the feeling that, oh, is it worth to spend money? Nothing will happen and so on. But I had the experience couple of times. Things don't go in the right direction, and if I wouldn't have the insurance, I will be on the loser side, if you want. So I normally go for the top tier, if you want, of the insurance. Because I cruise a lot, I always check that my insurance company has a package for cruises. And for example, I'm using now Cover for Me. It's very easy to find on the internet. You can find plenty of other insurance companies, but I go for the cruise package, which includes, for example, a cancelled port. When we were together on Virtuosa, you know that Greenock was cancelled,
Yeah.
but because was in the original itinerary, I got £100 for missing a port, which is not a lot, but if you'll find £100 on the street, I'm sure that I will go down and pick up the money. So that's a very good thing. Now, another thing that you need to keep in mind is that if your government, UK government, doesn't recommend travel abroad, the insurance will not cover you. And therefore, you need to check exactly the terms and conditions for your insurance. And if the insurance doesn't cover your travel, your cruise, your holiday, try to find something else. And you mentioned the fact that especially in the entire pandemic situation, most of the cruise line offer you packages. You just add it's an option at the end of the booking process, and you add the insurance for that cruise. For example, with me, with MSC, my UK insurance doesn't cover me because travel is not recommended by a UK government. It's not bad, but it's not recommended. And therefore, MSC offer you a package for a week. I pay 25 euros, which is not a huge amount of money, but that, in case of something will go wrong, that money will be worth it, because that cover disembarkation costs, hotels in case of you need to stay in quarantine in one of the ports, travel back home, and so on. So that will have quite a high price, covered by these 25 euros. And everybody's doing that. I know that Royal Caribbean is doing that. I'm sure Saga, because they have a strong insurance company, they have something similar, and so on. So I think it's worth it to look into that, and exactly in the way how you pack your toothbrush, you pack your travel guide, you pack your sun lotion, pack your insurance with you all the time when you travel, because that's something that it's better to be safe than sorry. You spend some money, but in case of something goes wrong, you are covered.
Well, Leonard, thanks so much for joining me. I mean, we'll have to record a series of these things, and maybe if you're listening to Leonard and I, and there's something that you would really like to know, Leonard is an experienced cruiser. He writes about cruising all of the time. He is one of the best people to answer your questions. I'd be very happy to put those questions to him. So do push that little button and sign up to our blog, and we'll be happy going forward to answer your questions. But just now, every good wish for your disembarkation tomorrow, Leonard. And
thank you very much.
See you soon.